Ladies and gentlemen, and this is top 10 animals with black Air Force energy. Okay. I don't, Black Air Force energy? I've never heard of that. Okay. This was called Casual Geographic, obviously. This channel is great. Especially recently, right? Latest past 2-3 videos. There's a pattern to it. Usually it's just chaotic, right? It's just any videos they can think of. Usually the first clip is the title of the video. But since the chimpanzee series, I'll call it, I guess, because there were multiple videos one after another about that, there has been a pattern now, I guess, he's using or something. So I don't know what this is going to be about, but yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's watch it. What the fuck?
Black Air Force energy. Good old Urban Dictionary defines it as a person or an object that has insane potential and is crazy enough to deal with anything without fear or hesitation, regardless of moral alignment, including its own rivals or competitors. And despite clearly taking grammar lessons from NBA Youngboy, I'd say whoever wrote that was pretty on point. It's a term I use a lot in my videos without really explaining exactly what it is. So here's a full list of the top 10 animals with the most Black Air Force energy.
I didn't know
Some
this was a
animals
thing.
are an obvious pick, others might just surprise you. But they've all earned their spot, including the animal at number 10, which might have the least clout of any animal on this list, but that's only because it's found one place in the world. Because if this bird were airdropped across the globe, it'd definitely be more known for all the wrong reasons. Starting off is what happens when an animal is too smart for everyone else's quality of life. The Kia is a large parrot that can be found terrorizing the people of New Zealand. And don't let it fool you, this Black Air Force with a Grinch colorway is an op in every way. They're highly intelligent and armed with a hook-shaped beak, right? Which is the perfect tool for Kias to inflate insurance by picking apart cars. You see, the Kia is smart enough to associate people and the cars we drive with food, which is why this anti-mechanic is famous for committing the cutest carjackings you'll ever see. Of course, they don't just stop at cars. This feather felon will go through purses, backpacks, duffel bags, and swipe anything they can fly away with. There was even a case where this airborne pirate stole the passport of a Scottish man that didn't want to be identified. Because no one wants to be remembered for getting denied from your home country because you got your passport pickpocketed by a panhandling parrot. It happened to him and it can happen to you, but guess what? If you happen to get your wallet snatched and try to see the Kia about it, be prepared to also eat a several $1,000 fine and even jail time. Kias are protected by the government because it only makes sense that something with wings would be above the law. And it's almost like every Kia knows it and acts accordingly. But it's not just humans getting griefed. Kias will regularly raid other birds' nests and make omelets with their unborn children. And they'll use that Swiss Army knife of a nose to remove parts of a living sheep to eat, and there have been reports of them victimizing dogs and even horses. But at least the Kia isn't a legitimate physical threat to people. The next animal's responsible for putting more zookeepers on workers' comp than any other animal.
That is a weird conundrum, right? Like I've seen in the comedy shows and shit like that, TV shows, but if a protected species fucks with you, you can't really respond with anything. It's a protective species, right? You can't even try to retrieve something. Because even that will be looked at as something like an attack or something. There was I think it was Family Guy, right, where Peter grew a beard, and certain birds went in it, but some birds were protected species or something. So somebody said like you can't remove them from your beard; they are protected species.
The African wilderness has some of the most ways to F around and find out per square mile in the world. So it makes sense that living in the most dangerous area codes in the world has turned the zebra into an actual psychopath. This oppressed Oreo horse has the strongest kick in the animal kingdom, strong enough for Marty to have written Alex out of the sequel. Which is why, even though lions body them often, every once in a while a lion has to explain to his ancestors how he got flatlined by a high-strung equality donkey. But the generational anxiety of being constantly hunted means the zebra will often one-shot something for existing too close to it. There's two reasons why you won't see a person riding a zebra. One, they're too small. And two, every zebra is fundamentally a bastard to its core. No, like literally. Because many mother zebras will actually mate with as many males as possible, because if she's showing and he suspects it's not hers, he'll violently press her until it's terminated. And if the baby's already out, that's just an invitation for him to demote her from mother to mourning. And going back to humans, zebras are infamous for allegedly putting as many zoo staff in the ER as any other animal. They may look like horses whose favorite part of a birthday is the finger painting station, but this panda pony's liable to paint the block with their insides if you breathe at them the wrong way. Treat one like a barnyard animal and negotiate your left hand. And because zebras are genetically closer to donkeys than horses, calling it the ass of Africa is a scientifically accurate title. And as the default protein of many of the landlords of the savannah, it's a title they hold with pride, because it's the best one they can get. Speaking of titles, you ever think about how
Seriously, how fucked up the species are that they basically try to kill their own offsprings, right? If they know that this is the offspring. How the fuck this kind of thing is supposed to survive? I guess obviously there's lots of play around, right? Like, she basically mess around with enough of zebras that there is no, exact one, like whose is it, right? Or something like that. There's a workaround like that, but still, a species has to do that to begin with. Is kind of fucked up. That zebras would actively try to kill the offspring. Like, what the fuck? How are you supposed to survive as a species?
How dope the title of landlord actually is? Like landlord, as in lord of the land? I'm sure it's a title that would get more respect if there weren't such zebras about it. Even though it's kind of been tainted, the title of lord used to be reserved for the elites of society, like princes, lieges, and feudal superiors. Back then, to be called a lord, you'd have to A, join the House of Lords, B, marry someone who's already a lord or lady, or C, buy land from someone who's already a lord and have the title passed down. I don't know about the first two options, but today you're still able to buy land and be referred to as a lord. Like with established titles, you can actually buy plots of Scottish land and an official certificate of ownership. And if you really wanted to be extra about it, you could actually change your name to lord or lady and put it on credit cards, plane tickets, even dating profiles. Because the only type of person that swipes left on a lord is someone that knows they don't deserve one. It doesn't actually make you royalty, like you wouldn't be able to pull up to the House of Lords and have them open the gates for you, it's just a title. But it's a pretty cool title to have. Their certificates look like this, and yes, I'm technically Lord Casual, and best believe I don't ever let my friends forget it. And
This is fucking ridiculous. Lord Casual Geographic. Like, I mean, they don't even care if it's a name or not. Casual Geographic is not a person's name. It's okay, what name should I put? Fuck it, Casual Geographic. I don't care, fine.
You have my permission to be just as insufferable. Each certificate has a plot number to show you the exact location of the plot, and with each order, a tree gets planted to fight deforestation. With the help of global charities, one tree planted and trees for the
Lord
future.
Pepsi by the virtue of the... Why not? If companies can be...
You can't be a narcissist if you're also helping the environment. Also, the first 200 people to buy using a link will be giving a plot basically next to mine, so we'd pretty much be neighbors. So to earn your title of Lord or Lady, go to establishedtitles.com/casualgeo and use the code casualgeo for an extra 10% off. 10% off is also what you can expect if you treat this barcode horse as a petting zoo. But at least they have the excuse of constantly being plotted on. The next animal has less excuses but more disrespect.
Okay, what? I like the first of that. It's like panic.
Deer manage to cause billions of dollars in damage a year by playing freeze tag with cars, and that ironically makes them the most dangerous animal in America. But where blissful ignorance makes deer a threat, the deer of Down Under initiate conflict. 9 out of 10 car accidents in Australia involve kangaroos, and a good number of them are premeditated and not by the driver.
What?
Kangaroos assault vehicles with enough regularity to commit insurance fraud.
Holy shit!
In fact, kangaroos will regularly beef with inanimate objects. But it's not just a bluff. These are some brolic marsupials.
Kangaroos are like what the old British butch, those are the brawlers basically. That's what I remember when I see kangaroos. Like, oh, what you look? Come here, I'm a brawler.
Marsupials, armed with claws, but more importantly, a sharp dagger of a toenail. Which is why it's not a kangaroo's punch you have to worry about, but that Jurassic pedicure disembowelment. It's what makes their sparring sessions so lethal. That and the fact that kangaroos start every day with the specific goal of inconveniencing as many life forms as possible. If you happen to fly a drone in kangaroo country, prepare to have your insurance tested. In fact, it's not a stretch to say they hate anything that flies. Can you imagine how ridiculous this could have gotten? Imagine people thinking you died paragliding when really you survived but got mobbed by a pack of roid rabbits on impact. Kangaroos are number 8 because there's really no good reason for this. You see, as dangerous as Australia is, there aren't really any dominant apex land predators. While kangaroos often contend with dingoes and the occasional wedge-tailed eagle, a full-grown kangaroo doesn't have much that can threaten it, other than a bigger kangaroo. So my working theory is, they got cocky. And until nature airdrops some bears or maybe some type of big cat, kangaroos are still gonna be out here thinking they can do whatever. Try to change their mind at your own risk. As on-site as these malicious macropods are, they're not even the most disrespectful animal in Australia. And believe me, we'll get to that.
Damn, that's some badass shit.
The Big Five refers to the top 5 most dangerous animals to hunt in Africa. These include The elephant, the rhinoceros, the lion, the leopard, and an animal so feared it's been nicknamed Black Death. The African
Water
Cape
buffalo,
buffalo is a walking attempted homicide case armed with a pair of horns to make most attempts successful. They have one of the highest KD ratios against humans with guns. In some places, these tanks with road rage and 50% of the people they go after, and a lot of that is because they will actively seek revenge. There have been stories of one buffalo murking the same hunter that took out a member of its own herd. And whether you're a lion or a hunter, these trench cows get it back in blood. And the scariest version of a Cape buffalo is one that's already been injured. Hunters have followed a mortally wounded buffalo into thick brush only for the freight train with legs to circle back and ambush them from behind. Which is why the #1 rule when hunting Cape buffalo, assume you only have one shot because that's usually all you get. But it's not just humans getting bodied. Bloodlusting buffalo will seek out unsupervised lion cubs and log them out of life before they can grow up to be a threat. Not like the adults aren't at risk either. Capes will stalk and circle lone lions using the threat of gang violence to give Mufasa a roommate. Which is how the same apex predator that can solo multiple hyenas can get sent up a tree like a house cat. They're like the Liam Neeson of animals.
Long live the king. That is so true. But let's be honest, these buffaloes, Cape buffaloes, whatever you're saying, right? These buffaloes are fucking tank. I mean, look at their size, right? And they are angry at that, on top of that. Obviously, they are in African meta or whatever Tirzu says it, right? So, then they come in group. And I like how they basically, their mentality is, any humans with gun, yeah, you can shoot me, but better not miss because I'm charging for fuck's sake. Lions, like, our strategy is to, stalk and pounce and go for the kill. It's not to basically brawl with a fucking, big ass buffalo.
Animals wrong them and they make their life's mission to co-sign your obituary. That first hit was self-defense. Everything after that was a personal choice. And even though experienced lions can take them down, it's still very much a gamble. Especially since they can travel in herds of hundreds. That's also how they earned the nickname Widowmaker. Because right now there's at least one woman on Tinder because her husband decided to hunt a 1-ton vibe check while the buffalo decided that would be the day he'd finally live up to his nickname. It's a murderous mammal, but like the zebra, it's often just self-defense gone way too far. Not like the antics of the next animal. If you're talking about the Black Air Force of the sky, you're probably talking about crows, or really just corvids in general. Crows are smart enough to manipulate their environment to their advantage, but they're also devious enough to manipulate other animals for their own sadistic pleasure. I don't know what that crow said to that cat, but it certainly involves someone's mother. Ravens will weaponize their relationship with wolves to call out hits on competing coyotes. Crows in Tokyo have especially become a problem.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, the cat thing, that always gets me because these two cats are just basically, fighting each other and that crow is just, just sitting there looking. The crow is waiting for some kind of result, right? Otherwise, any kind of movement, pigeon, crow, any bird would basically fly away because sensing danger. But that crow is so close to those two cats and still not going away, just looking at that. That's some sinister shit right there.
They've basically gone to war against the entire human population. But it's not just humans getting bullied. There might not be a worse time to be an owl than in broad daylight surrounded by a murder of crows. Not to mention crows will often raid the nests of other birds for a disturbingly literal kids meal. And that's when they're not just straight up snatching minors in front of their parents. I think EDP just found a spirit animal. They'll regularly mob and harass other birds until they drop the food they've already caught. And crows won't hesitate to beat on much larger birds of prey, which might explain why they do the exact same thing with humans to get them to surrender whatever calories they have on them. But the avian onslaught peaks out with the Australian magpie. Now turns out they're not actually corvids. They actually sit closer to another bird with psychopath tendencies. Either way, Australian magpies manage to be the most feared thing in a country seasoned with crocs, cassowaries, and snakes. And while most wildlife is harmless as long as you respect their space, the earth is their space, and they have no patience for trespassers. To the point where many Australians have taken to wearing helmets to protect themselves from the magpie's malicious intent. Especially during swooping season, where magpies will relentlessly attack anything that gets near their nest. Actual human lives have been lost to this goth Tweety's tantrums. And since corvids can remember faces, once you've been swooped, you can expect the same treatment next year. I think Tirzu said it best, corvids are what would happen if you gave monkeys wings. But at least in the magpie's case, they're only a legitimate threat to a human way of life for the roughly 6 weeks of swooping season. Next animal is one of the biggest dangers to humans all year round.
Seriously, man, that fucking crow shit, right? I mean, crows, basically magpie, yeah, they remember faces, right? They'll make sure that their, even their family remember the faces, right? So if some kind of humans attack them, they'll basically other brethrens, whatever, they will know to avoid that area, right? And if they are at offensive, like that could be fucking problematic. So I didn't know in Australia magpies are literally hunting humans like their kids. They have to wear fucking helmets. That's some next level shit. I've never experienced something like that here. I mean, no animal that I can think of where I live could be anywhere close to posing a threat. Monkeys, sure, but even then, like, at least, in India there is a, Delhi and lots of places that would be an issue. But where I live, even the monkeys, like, yeah, you rarely see them. So yeah, this is just fucked up. Australia obviously known for this kind of a thing, right? A different type of animal, lots of angry one, kangaroos and shit. But yeah, this is just. Alright, people, you know what? I have to stop here. I didn't know this video was 20 minutes long. I thought I was just gonna do 10-minute short video of casual geographic, then go. But apparently it's a big one. I guess I'll do the second part or something. We'll see. But yeah, this was fun. Like I said, casual geographic's production is going up. This is literally top 10. I thought he said top 10. He's just gonna talk about it, but no, he's actually ranking them. Alright, people. I'll see you next time.